We both do lots of essay subjects, so sometimes it can be quite hard to revise content and things like that because it's not just sort of learning answers. So one of the best ways to sort of revise the content we found is doing essay plans. So you don't have to write hundreds of essays to sort of learn the content, but just asking your teachers for sort of questions that might come up, questions that have come up, and then planning your answers. It can literally just be a grid finding a point, some evidence and your example and sort of how you're going to analyse that, because that will form the ideas in your head. Because lots of things for essay subjects is you need to spend more time forming your opinions on the texts, on the pieces of the works that you're studying. So actually forming those ideas and having those sort of plans in your head just gives you a better understanding of your texts. The other thing is just reading the books in English or watching the performances if you're doing drama or dance, just because that will help to sort of solidify those ideas in your brain. And for things like quotes, you'll just remember them as they come up. You'll think, oh, that's a quote that I've revised, or this is a quote that my teacher's mentioned, and that will just sort of help you with those for your exams.
Yeah, and I was just going to talk about kind of timings and how to sort of schedule your time. I didn't actually find the sort of the normal model of the kind of the conventional revision timetable of, oh, you know, Tuesday at 4 o'clock I'm going to study chemistry. I didn't find that particularly worked very well for me, just because I was kind of a very busy person in year 11, I had loads going on. So the way I found was actually easier was to kind of almost block out slots of time, so like an hour or so, and I would fit it around everything else that I normally would do. So if you're timetabling this, you'd, you know, think about time to have dinner, time to do the household chores you've got to do, any clubs or any activities that you do outside of school, everything you would normally do in a week. Make sure that all goes on the timetable to make sure it's really realistic. And then instead of doing the same thing every week, because it's really hard to keep consistency, sort of sit down. I'd often sit down on a Sunday night and go, right, okay, all right, I've got this test this week and I've got this bit of homework to do and this is probably taking quite a long time. All right, let's schedule in where I'm going to do that in this week. And having, instead of a solid timetable, having a different timetable each week actually made me get a lot more done and be a lot more productive. And then I guess with sort of sitting down and studying, if you've got a long block of time and you're trying to focus for a long period of time, I found something that's quite similar to the Pomodoro technique that you probably heard about. The idea of you spend some time working solidly, kind of quite intensely, and then you have a break and then you sort of switch and alternate. So I would do about 45 minutes of quite intense kind of studying, and then I have about 15 minutes break, and then you come back to it. And I found that was a lot more helpful than kind of trying to sit down and work for a couple of hours. That's quite handy. And in your breaks, instead of just kind of being on your phone or staying at your desk, like getting up, moving around, go get a cup of tea, play with the dog, whatever, just do something completely different to distract your mind. And when you come back, you're so much more focused. So yeah, it's a good way of managing your time.